eBay Motors is here for the ride. Remember when you first saw the potential? And then, through some elbow grease, fresh installs, and a whole lot of love, you transformed 100,000 miles and a body full of rust into a drive that's all your own. There's nothing else that sounds like, feels like, or looks like the set of wheels in your garage. And with over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly, so there's no limit to how far you can take it. Brake kits, turbochargers, engines, exhaust kits, roof racks, LED lights, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, well, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. I have Dollop tour dates to announce for the year 2024 of our Lord J-Town. We have our 10th anniversary show coming up in Los Angeles on April 27th. Guests are Karen Kilgariff and James Adomian. And then we are going to Australia, starting on May 13th in Perth, May 16th in Sydney, May 18th in Brisbane, May 20th in Canberra, May 22nd in Melbourne, and May 24th in Adelaide. You can get your tickets at dolloppodcast.com.
Our ultimate goal is to turn cancer treatments into cures. Here in the lab, we're using isotopes to detect and stop cancer cells wherever they spread. We really want to make a difference in people's lives. Together, we're a force for progress and a part of a healthier future. I'm Professor Carolina de Aguiar Ferreira, and I am a Spartan. Michigan State University. Spartans will.
You are listening to The Dollop. This is a bi-weekly American history podcast. Each week, I, David Sean Anthony, read a story from American history, not German or all the other ideas you guys send me. It's an American history podcast. I say it every week. American. I read a story to my friend.
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is about, but knows that it's not going to be German.
I get them every week. I get one from another country. Just they keep coming.
Is it German people or it's just...
No, they're from all people send them from countries all over the world. Yeah. Like this one is great. You're like, I know, but up top I say American history.
That is a story I don't think a lot of people have heard.
People have not heard it, not in Iran anyway.
It's interesting. It was a weird time.
It was super weird. God, you want to hit a dude?
I'll do one bump.
People say this is funny?
Not Gary Gareth. Dave, okay.
Someone or something is tickling people.
Is it for fun?
And this is not going to become the tickling podcast.
Okay.
You are Queen Fakey of Made Up Town.
All hail Queen Shit of Liesville. A bunch of religious virgins go to mingle.
And do what?
Pray.
Hi, Gary.
No.
Nicely done, my friend.
No.
March 21st, 1813.
We should have him as a guest on a podcast.
We should.
1813?
Yeah.
Okay.
James Jesse Strang was born to Clement and Abigail Strang in Sippico, New York.
All normal sounding.
His childhood was full of sickness and suffering.
Oh, God.
At one point, it was thought he was dead, and the family started to make preparations for his burial.
He was just really deep in a sleep?
But he wasn't.
He was just dying.
They thought he was dead. Yeah, he was really sick, and they're like, that's it for this one.
They might have just been like, we're done. He's always sick.
Let's see if we can bury him before he wakes up.
Yeah. I'm not dead yet.
Strang said all of his early memories were painful.
Okay.
He described his childhood, quote, I learned from many sources that in childhood I exhibited extraordinarily mental imbecility.
Okay.
He just called himself an extraordinary idiot.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. That's perspective.
Indeed, all who knew me, except my parents, thought me scarcely more than idiotic.
It sounds like he came out of it.
I well remember that school teachers not unfrequently turned me off with little or no attention, as though I was too stupid to learn and too dull to feel neglect.
Oh, wow.
And my school fellows did not forget to add their plight. I remember myself as little disposed to play, seldom cheerful, and scarcely ever taking the slightest interest in the plays of others. Long weary days I sat upon the floor, thinking. Oh. Occasionally asking a strange, uninfantile question and never getting an answer. So,
wow,
he was basically treated like a canned ham.
Well, listen, I mean, most kids like to play. He liked to think. Sitting and thinking. That's fun, huh?
Yeah, so he had a great childhood.
Just going to go to that floor and have a fathom real quick.
Often when kids have a childhood like that, they turn out great.
That's true?
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel like...
Ideal, well-adjusted people.
Okay, because okay, go ahead.
Yeah. In 1816, the family moved to Hanover, New York. The Strangs were living in what was known as the Burned-Over District.
I'm hoping that that's one word and it's a last name.
We've talked about it before.
Oh, damn it.
As we have stated before, it says right here in my...
I don't get to look at that.
This is basically like the Wild West area of religion. With no organization in place, people were moving in rapidly and crazy religions popped up left and right. So people were filling the void by starting their own religions.
Yeah, well, I'm close to doing that.
Yeah.
Garethology is actually a very interesting religion. I'd love to have you be a part of it. He's just doing sit-ups. Don't worry about Jose.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. He just did a sit-up.
He gets pretty weird in that chair. Look at that. Yoga.
When James was 15, he had an affair with a woman named Nancy Crawford. She was 20.
Okay.
His father then sent him, because of this, to the...
Pimp camp?
To a Fredonia Male Academy where he remained for 3 years. He had some pretty grand ideas for his future, which he wrote in his diary at the time.
Okay.
Quote, I am 19 years old and am yet no more than a common farmer. 'Tis too bad. I ought to have been a member of the Assembly or brigadier general before this time, if I am ever to rival Caesar or Napoleon, which I have sworn to.
Those are pretty big names. Big gets. You know what I mean? I don't know if you want to...
You know, have a goal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I mean, look, everybody, we all got a dream to achieve. But,
that is true.
It's big.
Those are big ones.
Dreaming big.
I am sometimes almost discouraged as to the great matters that have so long occupied my mind, and have this winter seriously thought of marrying a young lady of moderate fortune and settling in private life. But the dreams of empire are so thoroughly imprinted on my mind as not to be easily erased. But I have discouragement from the fact that I have never done one great thing.
Well, there's a difference right there.
Yeah, it's hard to face reality when you want to be an emperor.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, no, dreaming to be an emperor, it's tough.
It is
from the bottom
tough.
up to build an empire.
No, a lot of people don't build an empire from a farm in New York.
Yeah, well, and they also were doing things when they were children that maybe would inform things like that, as opposed to just sitting on a floor and staring, and every now and then asking a really weird question.
More from the diary. June 1832. I spent the day trying to contrive some plan of marrying the heir to the English crown.
The heir to the English crown, not the hair. You're not talking like a hair that's dangling on the crown. I'm going to marry that one hair in the crown.
It's another spell correction. The heir to the English crown. Well, that's a good way to spend your day.
Look,
how can I get this done?
Yeah, for sure.
It is difficult.
Pining to marry a princess.
It is difficult business for me, but I shall try if there is at least a chance.
So far, he wants to be Napoleon and marry a princess.
Yeah. This might be...
How old is he? He's not 4?
This might be what happens when you let a kid sit on the floor and don't talk to him.
Give him a chair.
My mind has always been filled with dreams of royalty and power.
Well, so is everybody's.
But this is a kid who was completely neglected, so he's like, I'm going to be an emperor!
Oh, so yeah, it is kind of spite-filled, huh?
Yeah, well, it's a reaction to being ignored and called an idiot.
Yeah.
So now he wants to be the most powerful thing on earth.
Okay, so he's a villain.
Indeed, I not know what to do. Sometimes I have almost a mind to become a priest, but that is too small business for me.
Boy, he really won't be caged.
In August, I now solemnly confirm to be a priest, a lawyer, a conqueror, and a legislator unless I find better business.
Well, I mean, you better tell the business card people to get the slashes ready.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of slashes.
There's a lot of titles.
November. Amidst all the evils of the disturbances of our national affairs, there is one consolation. That is, if our government is overthrown, some master spirit may form another. May I be the one.
Oh, boy.
I tremble when I write.
Oh, boy.
But it is true.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. No. Overthrow, huh?
So he has some goals, some big ideas and stuff.
He's got big ideas.
He's a big idea.
He's got big ideas.
Big idea.
Dreamer.
While he continued to plot, he studied law and was admitted to the New York State Bar at the age of 23. He didn't think much of it. Quote, I should rather be the best hunter in an Indian tribe than a commonplace member of the New York Bar.
Okay.
I am sorry I have not made more improvement in preparing for my great designs. True, I have done nothing in all my life and am a fool yet.
So wherever he is, he just wants to be somewhere else.
He just wants to be bigger and better.
He's studying to be a lawyer.
He wants to be an emperor.
Yeah.
What the fuck is passing the bar going to do?
Baby steps. Baby steps.
I mean, he's already 23. How is he not an emperor or a brigadier general?
Just jump into a throne.
How is he not a brigadier general?
Get a goddamn degree.
He became so disgusted with himself
for not being an emperor
that he grew a thick brown beard to hide his face and, quote, ease the pain of what he saw in the mirror.
I've done that. Been there.
He became a postmaster, publisher, and editor of a local paper. In 1836, he married the daughter of a Baptist minister, Mary Pierce. They had 4 children, Mariette, Mary, William, and Hattie. In 1843, he was fired from his postmaster job and moved the family to Burlington, Wisconsin.
Oh, boy.
Where he practiced law.
Did he open the coat factory?
I hope so. And he might not have been... Isn't that Burlington, Vermont, the coat factory?
Listen, the point is we have one in Wisconsin.
You're from Wisconsin.
Listen, a coat factory is a fucking coat factory.
Know your place.
Damn you.
And he might not have been the best lawyer. At one point, he sued on behalf of a client because he claimed a neighbor's bees had stolen honey from his client's bee farm.
Well, but in his defense, that's really easy to prove. You just got to get the bees to testify.
Oh, man, when I get those bees up there and cross-examine them, this is going to be fucking nuts.
Oh, they're incriminating themselves all over the hive. Look at them.
The judge was impressed with the arguments he made and how he explored the law to find new ways to make his case, even though it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But above all, Strang was a great magnetic speaker. He spoke with great emotion and energy. He was a small man with red hair and a reddish beard. He had dark, piercing eyes. They were very close together, and he had what was described as a massive forehead.
Okay.
This made it seem like his features were grouped together in the middle of his head.
Sorry, so he's got
scrunch face.
He's got scrunch face.
Have you ever seen anybody with their face all scrunched up?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody that looks like their features are connected to a magnetic nose, though.
I'm going to pull up a picture here for you.
Of him? Or of scrunch face?
Scrunch face. Look at him.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, I get that. I mean...
It's all down in the middle.
Well, there's a lot of... He's not getting any favors from the top or the bottom of his face either. Oh, boy. Okay. That's why you got to be an emperor.
Yep. James's brother-in-law, Benjamin, became a member of the newly formed Mormon Church.
Okay.
In 1844, a highly ranked member of the church visited Burlington, and James Strang was persuaded by his message. James went to the largest Mormon settlement in Nauvoo, Illinois, where he was baptized by Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormon Church.
Well, listen, I mean, if you're going to get it done,
if you're an emperor, the top dog's going to baptize you, right?
No, definitely have the same guy who found golden plates in his yard.
Hey, now.
What?
Joseph Smith asked Strang
What the hell's wrong with me?
to find land near Burlington, Wisconsin for a new settlement. And off James went. And he kept busy. Over an 8-week period, he traveled 3,860 miles, attended 5 conferences, preached 81 sermons, and made converts to the cause. But then tragedy struck.
People realized Mormonism was crazy.
What?
No.
Just 4 months after James was baptized, Joseph Smith was murdered in Illinois.
Right.
Now leaderless, several Mormons tried to claim they should lead the group. One of those men was, of course, James Strang.
Wow. Okay.
Strang said that he had been ordained by angels at the exact same time that Joseph Smith was killed.
Well, I mean, do
That
we need to
hap-
hear from the other candidates?
that
I feel like we've got our winner. We know who's accurate. The dude who had the angel party.
Even though he was 200 miles away at the time and didn't know about Joseph Smith's death. So he was like, what are you doing here, angel?
But that's one of those things, too, where, like, if you're running against him, it's really just who can pretend the best. So you could just be like, but unfortunately, I talked to the real angels, and they said those were devil angels in disguise.
It's hard to not to prove a guy didn't see an angel and talk to it.
Yeah, right.
It is. It's hard.
It's hard, but it's equally as hard to prove that he did.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
But Strang then produced a letter of appointment from Joseph Smith. It had a Nauvoo, Illinois postmark and was dated June 18th, 1844, 9 days before Smith's murder.
Interesting.
So 9 days before he was killed, Joseph Smith mailed a letter saying, "You're after me,
yeah,
bro.
after me, but I'll be here for ages."
The signature was most probably forged.
The what?
Yeah.
How? Why?
Yeah.
Did the angels let him know?
But the letter was good enough for some Mormons.
Well, listen, it's always been hard to make you got to make a really good case to convince them.
Others thought not so much. The letter wasn't written in Joseph Smith's usual style, and those in power excommunicated Strang from the Mormon Church for his blatant power grab. Brigham Young then took over the Mormons and took most of Joseph Smith's followers to Utah. Another guy, Rigdon, led a smaller group to Pennsylvania. And then there was Strang. He now had a flock of thousands.
Okay.
So thousands of people were like, I'm on board with this shit.
Hey, man, I believe you when you said that group of angels partied.
They became known as the Strangites.
Strangites?
Yeah, Strangites.
Sure, yeah, it's catchy.
Many of them joined him because he was against polygamy.
Well,
The other two were for polygamy. He's against it.
Okay, so
there's a bunch of...
This is what I'll say.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to buy into a version of the religion,
Yeah.
I don't agree with the tenets of said religion.
Sure.
And I don't believe that polygamy should be a thing. But if you're under the umbrella of Mormonism, why not go to the one where you get a bunch of wives? Come on.
Because I'm assuming that there are a lot of wives that are going, yeah, we're not going with a fucking polygamist.
Sorry, my first wife, or my only wife, she wants to be called as being a real see you next Thursday. You know what I mean? She doesn't get it.
Okay. So in a few months, he has a few thousand followers. It's all going according to plan.
Sure.
Empire being built.
Absolutely. Look out, Napoleon.
Now, if you don't know how Mormonism kicked off, Joseph Smith had some visions and one night was visited by an angel who told him to dig up a book made of golden plates and other assorted stuff. Yeah. He did, and a religion was started. Yeah. I should add, I don't think one religion deserves criticism over another. They are all that crazy on a level.
Well, what is always the most fascinating thing about religion is the arguing of total hypotheticals.
Yes.
So where you're just like, my goodness, what? You believe the Holy Ghost did what? The Holy Ghost did nothing of the sort, my man. He was tied up.
Suddenly, James Strang started having visions and revelations from God.
Don't you just wish... I just wish you could you didn't have the moral authority inside of yourself to just be like, I don't want to lie to people. You know? Because then it would just be so easy to be like, guys, I just came from the bedroom, had a cup of tea with God, and whoa, First of all, big fan of me.
Right.
Big fan.
He called me Blowjob Jeff.
So, and I said, does that mean I'm blowing people? Apparently it means
no.
I'm getting blown.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
He said, if my cock's not in a mouth, I'm sinning.
Right.
So the line is here, and
I'm just going
what else
to
did he say?
I'm going to take these off. That's
He said-
all I can remember right now.
He said he loved me, give me your money, and the
Blowjob.
line is to the left. Exactly.
Right. One of his visions and revelations was about plates. But these weren't golden plates.
No.
These were what he called the Vori plates.
Right. Of course.
Strang got a message from God telling him where to find these plates.
Yes.
In Vori, near Burlington.
So is the idea that maybe God was moving and just lost a lot of plates on his...
He
was
and then
moving.
and then these ones he named after the place that they were.
Yeah, well, listen, he's
They're
a very...
very-
this all-seeing, all-knowing, powerful being is really uncreative when it comes to names.
Plus, the plates are close to Strang's, house.
Well, listen, I mean, look. So, I'm sorry, Dave. Are you being an asshole arguing that God's not making it too tough on him? Come on, dude. He hooked him up. Actually, there's some plates really near here. You should probably dig up
very,
too.
very close by.
As a matter of fact, it's a stone's throw.
Other plates. The plates were buried under an oak tree. When Strang brought his followers there and they dug, they found a case of slightly baked clay containing 3 plates of brass. They were metal plates that were also transcribed into the Book of Mormon.
How like the idea of having to pretend like you're surprised that those plates.
Oh, look at these!
Oh my God, he was right.
Holy moly!
He was being honest. I'm as surprised as you are.
Look at these!
I thought it was maybe a prank prayer.
I thought we might be digging for eggs.
Look at this, just like he said. 3 plates on this area that is particularly soily around this grassy area.
They contained an unknown language, the plates. Fortunately, Strang could translate them.
Listen. What are you're angry because the guy speaks gibberish?
They contain the final testament of an ancient American ruler named Raja Manchow of Vorito.
Yep.
Strang published his translation of the plates in his church's newspaper, the Vori Herald.
Yep.
It worked. A lot of Mormons thought the new plates were a sign that Strang was Smith's true successor.
Yeah. No, look.
But why wouldn't they? The first guy found plates. If another guy found plates
That's
and a
plate
bunch
time.
of people saw it, they're like, this is the next plate guy.
It's simple. It's build. I wish Joseph Smith was alive for that part where he would, because then you can't call bullshit.
Nope.
You got to be like, I guess there were more plates.
Fuck.
I would like to talk to you behind closed doors for a second.
Get in here.
All right, motherfucker. I know you buried those plates.
I did not. I found them
you
from
did.
God.
I buried my plates.
What?
No. I found God. I think you are the second coming as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Brother.
Also, does anyone know where God buried forks and napkins? We're looking to have a dinner. Some cups or mugs would be great.
Smith then wrote about revelations he was having. One said that Brigham Young was inspired by Satan and that James Strang was the actual prophet. That's a convenient one.
It's just amazing.
Also, God chose James to be a king and said he was the chief shepherd of the whole flock of earth.
Yeah.
So now we're getting to what he was talking about earlier.
Yep. Emperor.
Now, Mormons did not have the best reputation, were not really wanted anywhere, and were being persecuted, so Strang decided to find a suitable location for his kingdom. He took about 200 of his flock in 1848 and headed north to the Beaver group of islands in Lake Michigan. Beaver Island itself was a 56 square mile that had been put up for settlement by the government. It had lots of lumber and plenty of fishing, and it was remote, which was just what the Mormons wanted.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The one Mormon man against polygamy is moving everyone to Beaver Island.
That is absolutely correct.
Interesting.
Well, they thought about going to Pussy Island.
Yeah.
But it was taken.
And we're not going to the archipelago of cock.
Pussy Island, it was just wall-to-wall dudes.
Yeah.
Who were like, I thought it would be different.
This is kind of shitty.
Beaver Island was sparsely inhabited at that time by some Native Americans and a few settlers, who were mostly fishermen. Strang and his followers bought some land on the island and quickly set up a colony. It was supposed to be remote and isolated, but that wasn't entirely true. On a nearby island, Mackinac Island, there was a large fishing community that was not pleased. They harassed the Strangites, sometimes attacking them. Shopkeepers wouldn't sell to the Strangites. And on Beaver Island, there were Gentiles already living there and a small trading post.
Okay.
The dislike of the Strangites was immediate. Those living on Mackinac Island didn't want another group coming in and taking their fishing area. The Strangites started a paper to counter the Mackinac Island's paper, which was constantly calling out the Mormons for being assholes.
Just started the other Mormons aren't assholes weekly paper.
They had it back and forth with their newspapers.
That's cool. That's how you do it.
That's how it starts.
Yeah. If you can't get your propaganda through far enough, just start a paper.
The Strangites were also thrown by how different Beaver Island was from how they were told it would be by Strang.
Well, by the way, he's going off of God's word.
Right.
So maybe God's the liar.
Thank you.
Or maybe this is a prank.
Why don't you read the plates? You know what I'm saying?
I'll translate them again, guys. I'll translate these bullshit plates again.
Go to Vagina Island. Oh, Vagina Island.
Oh,
Fuck.
God.
This was pure hardship. This was the wild. They came from settled farmland and now were in nature, starting from scratch.
So at what point, if you're one of the guys who followed him, are you like, this is really fucking down?
For me?
For me, well,
this next thing I'm about to read. For me, it would be this next thing.
Okay, go.
Strang was then coronated king.
Okay, deal.
There were about 300 people in attendance. He wore a bright red flannel robe topped by a white collar with black speckles. He had a breastplate and carried a wooden scepter. And of course, a crown, described as, quote, a shiny metal ring with a cluster of glass stars in front.
Oh, my God. I mean, you got to be sitting there going we had a really nice life.
What the fuck is happening?
Look at this guy. Holy shit. Look at his fucking crown.
Joseph Smith, this wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. It takes a lot for me to miss Joseph Smith bullshit.
Strang got a traveling Shakespearean actor named George Allen to help him with the pomp and circumstance of the event. Adams placed the crown on Strang's head, anointing him King James I.
All right, by the power of bullshit, you're the king.
And as an actor, this goes on the head.
And with all the power of pretending to be others, I bestow upon the head of thee the crown made earlier today. Sorry, who's paying me for this shit? There's somebody...
At the ceremony, Strang anointed his followers with a, quote, holy oil that had a queer smell. The mixture was olive oil and phosphorus. When he threw it on them, it lit up their heads and everyone was very excited.
Wow. Doesn't take much.
Days before, Strang had told one of his followers to get a couple of bottles of phosphorus, dress up in a long white robe, and stand on the highest hill on Beaver Island. When he broke the bottles of phosphorus, blew a trumpet, and then he vanished. That made it seem like an angel had visited.
Oh, my God.
Excitement was all around.
So and then there's other people on Beaver Island, too, right? Like you said, there's some settlers who are probably just like, sweet God.
What in the fuck is happening right now?
An angel. Yeah, well, your angel
did you see the guy?
fell over a rock.
He's walking down the back of the hill, the angel.
Not very well, either. He looks very scared of falling. Your angel.
Strang returned the favor to Adams, the actor, and made him prime minister. Hey, I want to thank you for helping out with the king ceremony.
It was great to get
How would you like to be
and,
prime minister?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to be prime minister of Beaver Island?
Well, I've never worked in government.
Don't worry about it. You were an actor, right?
Yeah.
So act like a prime minister.
I am in. Yes, let's...
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, great.
Let's do it.
Great.
What's up, Primey?
Hey, Prezi.
A king, but...
Sorry.
Yeah, so let's get that straight.
Line.
But some found this all a bit strange, as not all the people who had come were Mormons. Some were just
Realists.
convinced by Strangites that this was a great place to start a new life, and so they followed. They didn't find out they'd be living under a king until they got there.
A king.
And many didn't even know what Strangites were until they were living amongst them.
Right.
One of the people who was not a Mormon was James Strang's wife.
So she's uncomfortable.
She didn't believe in James' teachings. They had been married before he converted, and she'd not gone along with the whole thing.
She actually probably buried the fucking plates.
She's like, I'm just going to stay Protestant, if that's cool.
No!
I'm going to stay, I'm just going to be a Protestant.
No!
I don't know what this is. You're saying you found plates?
Yeah! God told me where the plates were.
Yeah, but God doesn't talk to you.
Yeah, I did when you went out to go get those eggs.
Jimmy.
Don't call me Jimmy.
Jimmy, how long have we been married?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
God didn't just start talking to you.
Yeah, he did. He just when you went out and got those eggs. Listen,
Okay.
would I lie?
Okay.
Listen, what about this sounds
You know what?
crazy?
I'm
Listen, baby, shut the fuck up. Listen to me.
Okay, that's...
Well, listen, when you went out to get those eggs.
Yeah, I went out to get eggs.
You were gone for what, 20, 25 minutes?
Yeah.
And then while you were gone,
Right.
God popped in.
No, he didn't.
Talked to me, taught me a Martian language, buried some plates made of bronze out pretty close, and then he didn't want to see you. He doesn't like you, I guess. He wanted to be gone by the time you got back. He said he didn't want to be that guy, is what he kept saying. He goes, I don't want to be that guy.
Jimmy, when we met, you were like, I want to be emperor. And I was like, well, that's fun. That's like
I know, and
thing.
isn't it crazy how
That's
you can
like
manifest a dream if you really believe in yourself?
That's like a funny thing that he'll get over, and he'll get a real job, and he'll become... You'll work at a newspaper and support the family.
Of course I'm supporting the family. Okay? God is my best friend.
Okay, I'm going to go for a walk.
Okay, but while you're gone, don't be surprised if you come back and God's been chatting to me again.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, Jimmy.
Good pal.
One neighbor told the new arrival, quote, I have no faith in Strang at all. I fear he is misleading those people, and I am afraid they will cause us lots of trouble before long. But my husband thinks they're well-meaning people.
So there is the smartest person there.
We have invested considerable money, which I feel we shall regret.
Yes. Yep.
Next, the followers were told to work on building Strang's giant king house. This was another revelation from God.
Well, listen, yeah, look.
So I got a new one last night. God wants me to have a really big pad, like a super big house.
We're all very hungry.
Yeah, but here's the thing. God said he'll give you food after I get a house.
Can I ask you a fair question? Why does God like you so much more than us?
I don't know.
God, it would be great to eat.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I just know God's like 19 rooms.
But after we build you the kingdom, then
yep,
we can have...
You can have some pudding or whatever, yeah.
Did you say pudding?
Yeah, but good old
We
God.
need sustenance.
God pudding.
That sounds weird.
He said if they built the house, they would get, quote, extraordinary endowment of heavy illumination, protecting them from all the shafts of Satan.
Yeah.
But
careful, too, because Satan's everywhere.
But they weren't protected from winter.
Oh, well, couldn't God just put it on hold?
In 1849, sickness hit the Strangites. Food was hard to come by, and they didn't have any money. They did not know how to fish, and they had come too late to plant crops. Their clothing was not made for cold northern weather. The Strangites began showing up at Gentiles' homes looking for food. Strang was no help because he was gone. He left before winter hit to recruit more Mormons down south, where it was warmer. He'd head down vacation in the south now that I have a bunch of money. See you guys. I will be back in a bit.
Okay.
Just a couple of months or whatever.
Just you guys live through this. I'll be back with reinforcements.
The whole winter, the Strangites kept crying, "Oh, if only our king was here," as they starved to death.
Oh, God.
The non-Strangites started burying their food so they wouldn't have to share it with the Strangites.
That's amazing that they're actually burying the things of value after the plate incident.
The
non-Strangites.
Yeah, they're burying stuff. Yeah,
that the people who are burying things of value are the ones who don't buy the bullshit.
Those who knew how to fish began to teach the Strangites how and put out nets to catch fish for them, but several still died. Strang came back in the spring when it was warmer.
How was your winter?
Hey, guys.
How'd you guys fare?
Oh, my God. I am wearing shorts.
Oof, I have had quite the religious recruitment.
He was his usual calm and serene self. He went from house to house, and everyone was so thrilled to see him again that they seemed to forget their horrific winter. He visited one non-Mormon family, and they told him of all the suffering that had occurred, and he responded, quote, "Oh, they must get used to island life and expect to have some hardships."
Oh, what a prick.
More Mormons that Strang had recruited began arriving.
God,
Yeah.
the more.
Yeah.
We really are just from such idiots.
Yeah.
Just so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know how you're living somewhere and some guy comes down. This is what I can never understand. So you're somewhere and a dude comes and tells you about a new god and you buy it and then you go there. Like, I can never get that.
But there's just with no evidence. With no evidence.
But you've been living this whole life and all of a sudden you're like, oh, really?
Well,
they found
God
some
said it.
Plates under a thing?
You promise God said that?
The new arrivals seemed to have a better understanding of farming and taking care of themselves. Each family gave 10% of their earnings to the king.
The king.
He then implemented his own rules. There would be no alcohol. Baptisms for the dead.
What?
Well, that's what a lot of Mormons do.
They baptize the dead?
Yeah, that's a thing. Animal sacrifices, tobacco, coffee, and tea were not allowed. Oh, no, animal sacrifices were allowed. He had animal sacrifices.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
But tobacco, coffee, and tea were not allowed.
Cool.
Some were even more strange. One was to build and maintain island roads. So that's
build
a weird.
Roads?
Well, that's a weird revelation. Yeah, build and maintain.
He also
roads.
said roads.
He said we need some roads around.
He was really
God, and if I can be very specific, he told me we need some roads up in this bitch.
I mean, this is like real life Sims.
He forbid marrying dwarves, hunchbacks, and other deformed persons.
I think that's. I mean, listen. Do you really have to tell people? I mean, I feel like people in this time are already kind of like, nah, but you have to be like, none of them.
Hold on now, everybody. No hunchbacks.
But may hunchbacks marry dwarves, sir? Maybe.
Oh, fuck. I gotta
Fine,
talk
but
to...
nobody watch them fornicate.
I gotta talk to God about that one.
This is very specific.
He also forbid fashionably narrow shoes.
What? Boy, this God honestly sounds like he's like a cast member of Fashion 911.
Ugh. The Council of Apostles was formed. They made laws and punished Strangites who disobeyed. Some were now being excommunicated and thrown off the island. Dr. H.D. McCullough was excommunicated for drunkenness. Others, like Thomas Bedford, were flogged for adultery. That is something Thomas Bedford never forgot. When the non-Mormon fishermen were taxed.
How did they take that?
$10 per boat. Made the king quite a bit of money.
Wait, they accepted that?
Yeah, well, they were making
just so outnumbered.
They were making so much money from fishing, and they were outnumbered that they didn't really cause a lot of.
Well, that's terrible.
However, nothing Strange did pleased the non-Strangites on Mackinac Island. They continued to harass, and tensions between the groups continued to build.
Okay.
Strang also had new revelations when he returned from his winter journey. First,
Sorry, you mean new bullshits?
Revelations.
Bullshit.
God talked to him again.
Yeah.
He's out there for months.
Why doesn't God just lay it all out there once?
God and chat. He likes to one at a time. Lay him out.
It sounds like he doesn't really know the future as much as you would think. An all-seeing, all-knowing,
If you do them all at once, people forget stuff.
Well, just write him on some fucking plates and bury him.
First, he said that God wanted Strangites to take what they needed from the Gentiles.
Oh my God, this God, huh?
It was their privilege to take from them.
Not cool.
Suddenly, the non-Strangites on Beaver Island felt very insecure about their living situation.
Yeah, as they fucking should.
The effect was immediate. The Strangites started taking from the non-Strangites. Suddenly, the peaceful coexistence between the two peoples were gone. Mr. Peter McKinley suffered considerably as Strangites took his cattle and butchered them. A Mormon boy who worked for McKinley told him that the Strangites were doing this And for that, the boy was given 50 lashes by his fellow Strangites.
Jesus.
Don't be a snitch, bro.
Yeah, but...
Don't be a snitch, bro.
Right, but...
Snitches get lashes.
Snitches get lashes.
From a memoir. Quote, we were startled one morning to hear several boats and nets had been taken by the Mormons, along with many barrels of fish from the storehouses near the lighthouse. Some Ohio fishermen had stored their fish and other property, expecting to come back in the spring, leaving a man to look after the property. The Mormons took everything to the harbor. Our people saw them passing very early in the morning. They were all well armed and ready to resist any interference from the Gentiles.
Yeah, but the joke's kind of on them, because if you leave fish frozen for that long, the flavor's really
It's
basically
not
gone.
good.
It's going to be dry.
I mean, you can't make sushi, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's just, I mean, it'll
Well, you
do,
could
but
dry it out, but it's just for sustenance at that point.
you want to go, water to table mainly. So this is kind of like,
Right.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
not really a winner in this.
It's a bad idea.
yeah.
So, anything on the island, no matter whose it was now Strangites.
The Kings.
Yeah.
Sure.
Beaver Island started to get a bad name with ships.
Mm-hmm.
Between 1849 and 1851, 3 ships that stopped there were never heard from again.
It's not any more and more like a ghost island.
So they would attack the ships at night
And then...
and take everything off it and then scuttle the ship.
Right.
And many items from the ships were later found in the possession of the Strangites.
That's really crazy.
At the same time, James Strang sent out apostles to travel the country to bring new converts to the island. And they came.
Of course they did. They heard about the abundance.
Yeah. The non-Strangites on the island were now very much fearing the Strangites. The Strangites started carrying knives and guns.
So they're getting shady.
Yeah, shit's getting real. They would just come to a home, enter without knocking, and demand a meal.
Wow. That is some bold shit right there. Yeah, feed us.
Hi, I'm going to need some... no, not this. I would like something better.
Maybe a stew?
What is your best food?
Make that.
Sometimes they would spend the
We're going
night...
to go to your bed for a sleep. They're Goldilocksing this place.
It's full on Goldilocks. In 1850, the local fishermen had it with the Strangites. They planned a 4th of July celebration at Beaver Island, which was to end in the forcible expulsion of the Strangites.
Awesome.
So they got good and drunk, and then headed for the island to do their work.
Well, can I say that's a flaw?
Well, you got to start getting a little lubed up, get ready for the party.
You might want to go sober.
Okay, no, shit, no, girl. You got to go in and party.
I'm a boy.
Okay. So they get drunk, they head there. But as they arrived, Strang fired a cannon he had secretly purchased at them, and all of the terrified fishermen took off.
Well, listen, God had a... Yeah, God was
said,
smart.
God was like, get a cannon.
Forethought.
God was like, hey, bro, get a big gun.
But also, these guys are pussies, obviously. Now, when you're shooting...
What?
Okay, so when he's shooting a cannon, is he shooting a cannonball?
Yeah.
So what the fuck? Just...
I know, you got to reload it, you got to do a whole thing.
it
it's
seems
not
like,
easy.
yeah, you don't quit after 1. Maybe 3 if you're like...
But they didn't know how many he had when he shoots the one.
Listen, I think if I was back then, I would have fucking been like,
You would
let's
have
go.
tear that shit up.
Yeah. I'd be like, he's got to reload.
One of the biggest reasons many Mormons followed Strang after Joseph Smith died,
Because they're idiots.
as I said before, was polygamy, and Strang being against it.
This has he's marrying more written all over it.
He didn't stop those who had more than one wife, but he did say no more wives could be taken. But now suddenly, he was given a new revelation.
Excuse me, it's God again.
Polygamy...
Fuck them all.
Fuck 'em all is what he said. What?
He wrote it on this bullshit. On this plate.
And he did this with his fist.
Yeah,
he was
made
like,
the
fuck 'em all.
bullshit. He was very graphic.
He said anal?
Is fine.
Yes, so polygamy now must be practiced.
Cool. Well, listen.
Of course, all of his followers were blindsided by this revelation.
It's a different revelation.
This was the complete opposite of what he'd been saying the entire time. But he had a good theory. He said that polygamy would liberate and elevate the women by allowing them to choose the best possible mate, even if he was already married. So they wouldn't have to pick from a bunch of leftover shitty dudes. They could go to
No,
the
they
top.
could go to the taken ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, way better. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Why have a bad meal to yourself when you can have a taste of a good one?
Thank you.
Yeah.
He kicked it all off by taking a second wife for himself.
And you know what? I'm going to start the party off. Nancy, I've had my eye on fucking you for a while.
What up, girl?
God said you were ready to go.
Then the original Mrs. Strang,
Was cool?
not a Mormon, packed her shit, took the 3 kids, and split.
Well, somebody is selfish and not listening to the word of God.
Somebody's not into God at all.
Lord.
But the second wife wasn't as flashy as you'd expect. Strang had her dress in men's clothes, and they'd travel around trying to convert people like a couple of bros. He called her Charles Douglas.
Okay, so, I'm sorry. Can we just...
I don't know.
Because... Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? Is that you understand why he's doing all of this up until now. Like, you get it. It's coming from a selfish, greedy place.
Yeah. We took a left
Why
turn.
is he now turning his second wife into a boy and going to...
Hey, shit just got weird.
Yeah.
What's happening?
It's a pretty weird call. And what is he calling his second wife
Charles
again?
Douglas.
Charles Douglas.
But my name's Betty.
Shut up,
Easy,
Charlie.
easy, Chuck.
Come on, Chuck, shut
Come
up.
on, Chuck.
Oh, man. I can't wait to get you out of that 3-piece suit when we get home.
So then he took 3 more wives, very young, and these he allowed to dress like women, which was cool.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, the other one wasn't even allowed to dress like a woman?
No, she had to dress like a dude all the time. Oh my God. It's fucking crazy.
It's very... I would understand that if that's wife 3 and you're like, hey, just for a change up. But right out of the gate to be like the next wife,
Yeah.
you're your only wife for a minute, just like a boy?
Okay, so your wife too, bro.
So God told me some more crazy stuff. He wants my new wife to be a boy. Anyway,
With a vagina.
I'm starting to wonder if it's just some dude with a megaphone or something.
God actually said vagina boy.
Yeah, he did. He said a vagina boy.
This is Mary Henderson's story. I spoke with my husband about the polygamy doctrine, and he said, have no fears. Strang can never make me bring another wife into our home. On the 8th anniversary of our wedding, my husband said to me, I shall not be home to dinner as there is some very important business to be done at the temple. I followed him to the door saying, now remember, this is our anniversary. Just as the clock struck 5, I heard the gate click and our faithful dog gave a low growl. I hurried to the door, and my husband was coming up the path with a woman holding it onto his arm.
Oh my God.
Before I had time to move or speak, they stepped past me into the house. My husband said to me, Mary, let me introduce you to my wife, to whom I have just been sealed in this spirit this day, and I hope you will welcome her and show her the respect which is her due from you. Happy anniversary!
Unbelievable.
Worst anniversary ever.
Unbelievable.
I stood still. I could not move. I could not speak. My tongue would not move in my mouth.
That's crazy.
On the anniversary.
And just to go to town. I'll be back in a bit.
Oh, such a fucking
Here's a woman who'll be living with us.
Look what I found.
She's also a wife.
The women of the island were becoming more and more upset as their husbands brought home new wives.
Don't they respect God?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean,
What about God?
yeah, he wants them all to get that.
Be a little more selfish.
Yeah, honestly.
Several women went to speak to the king as a group and begged him not to do this. Strang said he did not propose to be ruled by a lot of weak, whining women.
Also, you right there, come here. You're a wife now.
The women were sent off the island away from their families.
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
What?
Well, what do you mean, what?
Hardball, bro.
Yeah, no, that is hardball.
Word of what was called the Michigan Mormon trouble finally reached President Millard Fillmore.
Well, king outdoes president.
Well, that's what I think. He told the Attorney General to begin prosecution of Strang for federal charges, including treason, delaying the mail, cutting timber from public lands, tax
order of this is very
irregularities, and counterfeiting. I just grabbed a bunch.
Okay.
It made me laugh to go from treason to delaying the mail.
Delaying the mail.
James Strang and 100 of his followers were taken aboard the U.S. Naval gunboat Michigan and brought to Detroit in May of 1851.
Was King Strang taken?
Yeah.
That has got to be such a fucking awkward boat ride.
Oh.
So why are we going here if you're the king, right? So why are we going to maybe be prosecuted? What did God say about any of this?
He said, do it. He was like, get in there.
Okay.
Get in there. Be good.
He likes the idea.
Yeah, he's totally down.
Okay. Just seems like...
Is that your wife, or is that...
I don't have any more questions. So.
Okay, cool. Well, good talking to you.
Yeah, I don't want to...
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Catch you around. You met Charles?
Yeah, you mean your man wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been a good trip overall. So, boy, I hope you're right. Otherwise, it kind of feels like my life was wasted.
What are you talking about? Hang in there.
All right. It's just there's a lot of punches we're rolling with over here.
God gave me a revelation last night, and it was a cat hanging from a tree branch, and he said, hang in there.
That sounds like God.
Having been trained as a lawyer, Strang acted as his own defense attorney and won the case.
Oh, my God.
This made him a national celebrity and got him positive coverage by the Michigan press. He was now a well-liked celebrity.
Oh, my God.
It didn't go the way you thought it would, did it?
Nope. No.
Well, that's because this is what God wanted.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Strang then ran and won a seat in the 1853 Michigan State Legislature, where he served 2 terms.
No. Is he still a king?
Yeah, fuck yeah, he is.
So now a king is working
in
the government.
Fucking side work.
Seems a little below him.
The king needs to know what the people are doing.
Sure.
The same magnetism and speaking skills that made him a cult leader were at work here. His fellow legislators became big fans, and they now figured everyone who had been talking shit about him on the island were nuts.
Yeah, they're crazy.
But while in the legislature, he also fought against people being able to sell or trade alcohol to Native Americans. This really pissed off people who sold alcohol to Native Americans.
Right.
Meanwhile, the Strangites on Beaver Island were being torn apart by Strang's revelations, particularly polygamy. But those who wanted to leave had no way to get off the island and no ideas what to do when they did get off.
Yeah.
Because they'd sold their farms and gone up to...
And I mean, you believed you were going to a promised land.
Yeah. And
so you don't have you don't have a plan B when you're going to a fucking promised land.
No, if you're going into paradise, why would you have a plan B?
You don't go like, in worst case scenario, we go back to Michigan.
Yeah, we'll save a little nest egg in case.
Just in case he's not the king and God didn't write those plates to him.
Just in case.
Just in case, I'll work at a paper.
And things grew worse with the Gentiles. The Bennett family came back to their home from fishing one afternoon and were confronted by 2 Strangites demanding fishing tax money. Mr. Bennett asked to see the king before he paid the tax. He was then shot 7 times. So things are heating up.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem very pious.
When they heard about this on Mackinac Island, they wanted justice and revenge. A sheriff from Mackinac Island was sent with a posse and 32 Native Americans. They came into the Mormon village around midnight and yelled some sort of Irish, we're here to fuck up your shit war cry, and the Strangites fled shoeless into the woods and the swamp. The sheriff's men then plundered the village and took what they wanted.
It says a lot when you are uniting white authoritative figures and Native Americans in a cause.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you really are dealing with some real BS.
You're a super asshole. But the women on the island were then in for something worse.
What?
Strang made a decree that, for health reasons, women should wear only loose-fitting, knee-length bloomers, as opposed to anything that, quote, pinches or compresses the body or limbs. There was an uproar.
Sorry. What does he wants them to wear?
Bloomers.
And because it doesn't show their body?
I don't know why they just didn't like it.
He just is making them wear underpants?
No, bloomers aren't underpants.
What are bloomers?
I think they're like a big puffy
pant.
Oh, I'm picturing like undergarment. So he's just making them wear hammer pants?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what a bloomer is.
Okay. Whatever it is, it's crazy no matter what. Are you looking up bloomers?
Well, do you want me to?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a bloomer is just like a fat bloomer's definition. It's a women's loose-fitting, knee-length underpants. No, you're right.
Yeah. What I'm picturing, like, it is. It's like puffy, like cotton.
No. Historical women and girls loose-fitting trousers gathered at the knee or originally the ankle.
Yeah.
So it's not underpants. Back then it's.
But it's still
very loose trousers.
But it is not something a woman would like. A woman would never wear that out. That's not what a woman would. Okay, all right.
Well, I don't know if it's good island wear.
It's not good island wear, but it's also not like whoa. I mean, it makes no sense. I guess is the point.
Unless he did want them to wear underwear.
Well, Mormons do wear magic underwear.
Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe I couldn't find any more information about it, but maybe in this case he was demanding that the women wear underwear.
But it's not like lingerie. It's like wear that puffy.
No,
stuff.
It's big puffy. Yeah.
It's like puffy pirate underwear.
I mean, let's hope let's pretend for the sake of the story, since we don't know one way or the other, that he demanded a bunch of women wear underwear.
I think that is what he demanded.
So he said, wear bloomers as opposed to anything that pinches or compresses the body or limbs. So there's an uproar. Some wives refused to wear bloomers, and Strang had their husbands flogged.
Jesus.
The bloomer issue was the final straw. By now, so many wanted Strang dead that his followers begged him to use bodyguards, and he refused.
Oh, boy.
Though many of the Gentiles had already left Beaver Island by now, things got worse when Strang sent word that those remaining had to come to the harbor and be baptized into the Church of Zion or leave the island in 10 days. That was it. They all fled.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward when he's like, so,
where are the...
we said 4, right?
We said 4. Yeah, we said 4. Why aren't you in bloomers?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
There were now too many stories about Strang forcibly taking property and revenue on the island reaching the government. And the non-Strangites from nearby communities were lashing out and attacking whenever possible. The USS Michigan was sent to the island to handle the tensions between the Strangites and the non-Strangites. The captain asked for Strang to join him. On June 16th, 1856, as Strang walked down to the dock, two disgruntled Mormons, Alexander Wentworth and Thomas Bedford, walked up behind Strang and shot him in the back. All of this was done in the view of officers on the ship. No one yelled to warn him. Now, I remember Bedford was a guy who got flogged for something. Yeah.
But that is amazing that they're like, keep
Yeah, they're just
coming.
like, oh, check this out. Oh, my God, they have guns. And
you owe me Coke.
3 bullets hit Strang. One grazed his head, the other went into his cheek, and the last into his spine. He was paralyzed from the waist down. One of the men then walked up and brutally beat him with the pistol. Ooh. The 2 shooters then calmly walked onto the ship and asked for sanctuary.
Hey, can we come with you guys?
Hey, we're on your side. Yeah, good. The shooters were taken to Mackinac Island and put in jail. They were there about a week. One night, the door was unlocked, and a man said to them, ask no questions, but hurry to the dock and go on board the steamboat that is there. They did, and that was that.
Wow.
Strang knew he was dying. He requested to be brought to his first wife's house.
His first wife. Oh,
I liked her the best.
Yeah, welcome back, asshole.
Oh, now that I can't move, I feel like I've made mistakes.
You know, I talked to God a little bit more. Stop with the God stuff.
One of his apostles asked if he was going to name a successor. The king replied, I do not want to talk about it.
I mean, this is a guy who has a line to God, and now he sounds like a 13-year-old. No.
Stop asking me about that.
Questions. I PO'd.
He did that for several days.
No.
As he lay dying, refused to pick a successor.
No.
He was then taken. So he's in his first wife's home where they keep asking him, and then he died 11 days later. At this point, there were around 2,600 followers on the island.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Just how...
Strang had told them many times that bullets could not pierce his skin, and they believed it.
Also a dumb thing to tell people.
Yeah, and
because
also...
then, I mean, just for fuck's sake, you'd just be like, well, shoot him, see what happens.
I mean...
he isn't bulletproof.
Super awkward.
Yeah.
From a newspaper, quote, "And now when they knew their king was killed and killed by a bullet, they were paralyzed with sorrow, many of them completely incapable of thinking or doing for themselves. They seemed like a people without a hope in the world. Many wrung their hands and wept with sad moaning, saying, 'Our king is dead, our king is dead.' But on Mackinac Island, a different atmosphere, more like a party atmosphere. Yeah. Then the drunken hordes attacked Beaver Island as they saw this as the perfect time to rid the area of Strangites."
Why do they keep getting so drunk before they make these big moves?
It's a fucking party, bro.
But just make the move, then have the party.
Why
you don't party then make the move?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're off.
No,
I mean, it's like a dream to have like an army of wasted people come up and be like, "Wow, we've got a couple things to decree your way. I don't feel so hot."
I don't know if they're that drunk. I don't know if they're a cartoony drunk.
Oh, really?
They could just be like an angry drunk guy. Well, like what? Think about a fraternity attacking another fraternity.
Yeah, okay.
So that's not great.
Yeah, well, we all know how sober frats stay.
All right, so they forcibly removed them. They robbed them. They beat them, and then they dumped them on the docks. Then they were put on boats. And the Strangites were dropped off all around the edges of Lake Michigan, in Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana, in small groups so they couldn't find each other and regroup. They often had nothing but their clothes. They were complete, total refugees without means. It worked. They were scattered all across the country.
It is the best way to deal with it.
That is a fucking genius plan.
That's the best way to do it.
Whoever thought that up, that's the winner.
It's like when there's someone really evil and you cut them in like 7 pieces and put each one of them on a continent and bury it. You're like, just so they don't form again.
I feel like that's a weird analogy.
Sure.
Have you done that?
But that happened in a movie I saw once, I think.
What movie?
Huh?
You're thinking of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington?
I think it was Airbud.
Some tried to keep the Church of Strang alive, but it was difficult because he had refused to name a successor. Over those 2 weeks, he was dying.
Who is still clinging, going like, I think we were onto something?
Well, the numbers dwindled quickly.
Come on, guys. We were right there. We were just about to click.
Later, a man who had once been a leader of the church said that Strang and Caleb Barnes, a former law partner of Strang's, had actually fabricated the Vori plates. They apparently made the plates out of an old tea kettle owned by Strang's brother-in-law and engraved them with an old saw file. After they put acid on them to corrode them, giving them an ancient appearance. They bored a long, slanting hole under a tree and put the plates inside, tamping earth into the pole, which left not a trace of their handiwork.
I'm very shocked to hear that it was bullshit. That's crazy.
Lorenzo Hickey, one of his apostles, stepped up as the leader until he died in 1897. But there was no true prophet, as Strang's hadn't named one. Today, they are divided.
No.
Today, they are divided into 2 groups. They both make claims to be rightful followers. One was upset that the other one incorporated in the 60s.
Dave.
What?
You're talking about today?
There are somewhere between 100 and 300 Strangites today. The date
Can we
of
email
King
this file?
James' coronation, July 8th, is one of the 2 most important dates in the Strangite church year.
That is so many people to still have. That is 100 to 300 too many. Do they have?
No, I've read interviews with them.
Well, it is the same. I mean, look, I think your point earlier is accurate, which is that you should not really mincing words over which one of these groups is crazier, because for the most part, any very specific religion has to have a good amount of invention in it.
Yeah.
But
what?
But Mormonism is really crazy. I mean, how? I don't know.
It's not crazier than any other fucking religion.
It really isn't ultimately, but it's really fucking crazy.
Yeah, but they all are.
They're all crazy. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Any religion where someone is telling you exactly what a man in the sky has said to do with life on Earth is there's definitely a hint of bullshit.
Yep, a little bit.
Just a pinch.
Are we going to go through the Bible and read a lot of stuff that's like, that seems real?
Well, come on now.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that book was
solid,
written recently and still makes sense.
It's solid.
Yeah, we came from a rib.
Fuck.
Come on, man. Someone buried a rib. Here we are.
Anyway, that happened.
Wow. In the words of Yakov Smirnoff, America, what a country!
We're signing cars!
Oh, yes, it's Gareth. Not Gary, stop it. Gare Force, listen, I've got a bunch of stand-up shows coming up, and I want to see you there. We can hug. I will be at Rooster Teeth Feathers in Sunnyvale, California, April 18th, 19th, and 20th. Then I will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, June 18th. I will be at Nashville at Zanies, June 19th. I will be in Huntsville, Alabama, June 20th. I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, June 21st, June 22nd. Then I will be in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, June 26th. Then I'll be in East Providence, Rhode Island, June 27th. Then I'll be in Boston, Massachusetts, and Boston, June 28th. That's 2 shows. I will be in Springfield, Massachusetts, June 29th, Rochester, New York, June 30th, and then July 5th through the 6th. Canada, I've heard your prayers, and I will answer them. I will be in Toronto. So come join me at the Comedy Bar. Go to GarethReynolds.com for tickets and information. That's right, Gareth Force. We're calling you up. It's the big time. The big leagues. This went poorly.
You see a car. We see support for over 960 wildlife species. Because when you get the $29 Keep Colorado Wild Pass with your car registration, you fund conservation and education across the state. Get your Keep Colorado Wild Pass with your next vehicle registration.